In March 2024, Baker McKenzie fired 40 patent lawyers and replaced them with Claude AI. The partners said the machine was faster, cheaper, never tired, and made fewer mistakes. The lawyers had an average of 20 years' experience. The AI learned their entire specialty in 6 hours. This was not a cost-cutting move. It was an extinction event. Dr. Sarah Chun spent 30 years analyzing X-rays and CT scans at Johns Hopkins Hospital. She could spot stage 1 lung cancer invisible to most radiologists, identify pulmonary embolisms in milliseconds, catch infections before they became septic. Her colleagues called her the best diagnostic mind in the department. In November 2025, the hospital installed an AI radiology system that analyzed 10 million images before Chun finished her first shift. The machine never got tired at hour 9 when her eyes started burning. It was not distracted when her daughter texted about soccer practice or her son called about college applications. It did not need coffee breaks or emotional regulation after delivering bad news to families. It just analyzed, diagnosed, moved to the next case. The economic calculation was not debatable. Chun earned $400,000 annually. The AI licensing cost $60,000 per year. Cleveland Clinic installed the same system in December. Mayo Clinic followed in January. By March 2026, 43 major hospitals had restructured their radiology departments. The American College of Radiology reported enrollment dropped 40% by March. Medical students were not stupid. They could see the trajectory. Senior radiologists with 3 decades of experience took MRI technician jobs at half their previous salary. Others left medicine entirely, their expertise suddenly worth less than the teenager working the front desk. The machines had not just eliminated jobs, but vaporized entire career trajectories in the time it takes to complete a residency. The legal profession collapsed even faster. In January 2026, a leaked memo from Clifford Chance partner Michael Torres asked the brutal question: why pay a junior associate $300 per hour when a machine does the same work in 4 seconds for 3 cents? The firm automated 60% of associate work by February. Skadden ARPs restructured in February. White and Case in March. By April, 15 of the top 20 firms had eliminated their junior associate programs entirely. Some displaced lawyers became AI supervisors at 40% of their previous salary, reading machine-generated briefs and clicking approve. Most left law entirely. Their 7 years of education, bar exams, student debt, networking events became economically irrelevant overnight. Law school applications dropped 30% by fall 2026. Undergraduate pre-law majors evaporated. Students were watching what happened to the class 3 years ahead of them. The pattern was identical across white-collar work. A junior software engineer spent 4 years learning Python, data structures, algorithms, debugging techniques. GPT-5 generated 1,000 lines of production code in 3 seconds, debugged itself, optimized for efficiency, and never asked for equity or complained about work-life balance. When you eliminate the bottom rung, there is no ladder to climb. Georgetown Law projected 20% of legal jobs eliminated by 2027. The American Medical Association estimated 30% of radiology positions gone by 2028. Entry-level white-collar work vaporized in the time it takes to complete a bachelor's degree. But expertise was just the first layer. The machine is now coming for something you thought was uniquely human. We told ourselves the machines could calculate, but never create. We believed art and music were sacred human territory, that inspiration came from some ineffable spark machines could never possess. We were wrong. Creativity is not a divine spark. It is high-level pattern recognition. And pattern recognition is what machines do better than biological neural networks ever could. In August 2025, Shutterstock CEO Paul Hennessy told investors during an earnings call that Midjourney could generate client work in 10 seconds versus 3 days for human illustrators. The company fired 300 staff illustrators the same week. Clients who paid $3,000 for a custom logo now paid $20 monthly for unlimited generations. The company ran blind tests with corporate focus groups. The AI-generated designs were rated more professional 73% of the time. Not because machines had better taste, but because they had analyzed 10 million successful corporate logos and understood what generic professionalism looked like better than humans who only saw thousands. Adobe stock dropped 18% in September 2025. The fiber graphic design category collapsed 60% the same quarter. Supply met demand at a price point that made human labor economically absurd. The 300 fired illustrators had options. Some retrained as AI prompters, earning 1/10 their previous salary writing text descriptions for machines to interpret. Most left design entirely. They became baristas at Starbucks, retail workers at Target, delivery drivers for DoorDash. Their 15 years of art school, portfolio building, gallery shows, client relationships became economically irrelevant overnight. A designer in Mumbai could output 50 logos hourly using Midjourney, undercutting American freelancers by 95%. Geography meant nothing when the machine did the actual work. The human was just the prompt writer, and prompt writing paid like data entry, not design. By December 2025, 80% of corporate design was AI-generated according to the Freelancers Union. Human designers became a niche luxury for boutique brands selling authenticity to wealthy clients. Like handmade furniture in an IKEA world. Expensive, slow, economically obsolete. Maria Gonzalez had spent 12 years scoring independent films. She understood pacing, emotional beats, how music made audiences feel tension or release. In September 2025, she lost 4 major contracts in a single week. The studio's AI composed 60 different scores in a single afternoon for test screenings. Orchestral versus electronic. Tense versus melancholic. Romantic versus ominous. The machine delivered final stems before Gonzalez finished her first draft. The AI did not need royalty negotiation. It had no writer's block. It required no emotional support during creative difficulties or deadline stress. Warner Brothers automated trailer music in October. Netflix background scores in November. Epic Games restructured their entire soundtrack pipeline in December. 70% of session musician work evaporated by year-end, according to the American Federation of Musicians. Only 2 things retained value. Live performance, because humans still paid to watch humans play instruments on stage. And celebrity composers whose names sold tickets regardless of quality. Everyone else became economic ghosts. Present but irrelevant. Skilled but worthless. The internet filled with content slop. Billions of AI articles, videos, music tracks, images flooding platforms hourly. Machines talking to machines. YouTube algorithms recommending AI content to AI audiences, scrolling through feeds curated by AI for engagement metrics optimized by AI. Human culture became a niche hobby like blacksmithing or calligraphy. Charming, artisanal, economically irrelevant. If a machine produces a masterpiece in 10 seconds, what is a human spending a year to write a novel? The freelance economy collapsed into automated noise. By 2030, the white-collar office and the artist studio were equally empty. This was not unemployment or recession. This was the complete elimination of human cognitive labor in months, not decades. Your economic value was tied to what you could do better than machines. That list had shrunk to 0. And what comes next is worse than unemployment. The standard advice from career counselors and government agencies is simple. Retrain. Learn a new skill. Adapt to the changing economy. This advice assumes humans and machines learn at comparable speeds. This assumption is catastrophically wrong. Jason Miller was 32 years old when he lost his assistant manager job at Walmart in March 2026. The company automated scheduling and inventory systems. 8 years of retail management experience became economically worthless overnight. Jason did what everyone told him to do. He enrolled in a coding bootcamp. 12 weeks, $16,000 tuition, intensive training in Python basics, web development, database management. He graduated in June 2026 with a certificate in optimism. Then he discovered GPT-6 had launched in May. The AI generated full-stack applications in minutes. Not code snippets or templates, but entire production-ready systems with databases, user interfaces, security protocols, automated testing. The job market had evaporated while Jason was in class. Companies wanted senior engineers to supervise AI systems, not junior developers to write code. Entry-level positions that paid $70,000 the previous year now paid $35,000 as AI supervisors, if they existed at all. Jason applied to 200 positions. 3 interviews. No offers. He works warehouse logistics for Amazon now, $22 per hour. Less than his assistant manager salary. He owes $16,000 for the bootcamp plus his original student debt. The entire retraining to failure cycle took 4 months. The fundamental problem is speed. A human needs 12 weeks to learn Python basics, years to achieve mastery. An AI learns a new programming language in hours and masters it immediately. By the time a bootcamp curriculum is designed, tested, and approved, the AI has already mastered those skills and moved beyond them. The education system operates on year-long cycles. AI improves on week-long cycles. LinkedIn reported entry-level tech job postings down 65% by July 2026. Companies did not want people to do the work. They wanted people to supervise machines doing the work, which required senior-level judgment, not junior skills. Angela Rodriguez spent 15 years as a medical billing specialist. In February 2026, her Cleveland hospital system automated billing with AI that processed insurance claims, checked eligibility, handled denials, submitted appeals. Angela enrolled in a 6-month healthcare administration certificate program. $8,000. She learned medical coding updates, insurance regulations, healthcare compliance, everything the career counselor said would protect her job. She graduated in August 2026 to discover 80% of medical billing nationwide was AI processed. The new jobs were supervisory positions reviewing AI decisions. They required Master's degrees in healthcare administration. They paid 40% less than her old billing specialist role. Angela works the patient services desk at the hospital front desk now. $32,000 per year versus $55,000 as a specialist. She owes $8,000 for the certificate program. She still has a mortgage in suburban Cleveland. Retraining moved her sideways into lower-paid work. It did not protect her from automation. The retraining industry is selling a product that expires faster than milk. By the time you finish learning, the machine has already moved on. And now the machine is coming for the people who give the orders. We used to believe the executive suite was safe because leadership required human judgment, intuition, vision. We were wrong about that too. In September 2026, internal documents from an unnamed Fortune 500 retail company leaked to the Wall Street Journal. The board had installed a decision optimization system that controlled inventory, pricing, supplier contracts, store staffing, and real estate decisions. The AI analyzed sales data, weather patterns, economic indicators, competitor pricing, social media sentiment. It made decisions in real time, adjusting prices hourly, shifting inventory between locations, renegotiating supplier terms automatically. CEO Brian, last name redacted in the documents, signed off on decisions already made. He attended investor calls reading AI-generated talking points. He met with regulators because federal law required a human officer on record. Company profit increased 18% the first quarter. The AI eliminated human bias, emotional decisions, ego-driven expansion into markets that looked prestigious but delivered poor returns. The stock jumped 23% when the board announced AI-enhanced leadership to investors. 5 other retail chains announced similar systems by December. Executive positions were restructured, which meant smaller C-suites with lower compensation. Some displaced executives became AI liaison officers at 60% of their previous salary. Most took early retirement packages. The new corporate hierarchy placed the algorithm at the top. Humans provided legal signatures and regulatory interface. Decision-making had migrated from the boardroom to the server room. The Goldman Sachs equity trading floor employed 600 traders in 2008. In October 2026, it employed 2 human traders supervising algorithms. The AI processed news feeds, earnings reports, economic data, social media sentiment, executed trades in microseconds. The humans monitored for system errors, provided regulatory compliance, had authorization to shut down if malfunction was detected. Marcus Chun worked the trading floor for 12 years. He told reporters, "I used to make decisions. Now I watch the machine make decisions and hope it does not break." Traders who earned $300,000 to $2 million annually became supervisors, earning $150,000. J.P. Morgan, Bank of America, and Citigroup cut trading staff 70% by year-end. Some displaced traders moved to private equity, where human decision-making still mattered for now. Some left finance entirely. The realization spread. Even high-level cognitive work had become a supervisory role over machines. We do not understand the systems making decisions anymore. The stock market runs on algorithms, trading with algorithms, based on sentiment analysis from AI-written articles. Supply chains are optimized by AI we cannot audit. News feeds are curated by recommendation engines we do not control. Hiring decisions flow through resume screening AI that replicates historical bias without oversight. Loan approvals, insurance premiums, parole recommendations, all determined by black box systems. Humans have become signatures on documents we did not create. We are legal liability shields, regulatory interfaces, not decision makers, but decorative elements in a machine-run economy. The machines have not just replaced our hands and our minds. They have replaced our judgment. And the final solution is to simply feed and house us like pets. In January 2027, the federal government passed the Economic Transition Act. It was not called Universal Basic Income in the legislation. The official term was Guaranteed Minimum Stipend. Everyone over 18 received $1,200 monthly. No conditions, no work requirements, no means testing. The president called it a new social contract. Economists called it the largest welfare program in American history. History will call it the moment humanity became a pet species. Derek Santos was 39 years old, a former senior software architect at Microsoft. He lost his job in October 2026 when AI automated architecture planning, database design, and system integration. His severance lasted 6 months and ran out in April 2027. He applied to 187 positions. For interviews, 0 offers. Every company wanted AI supervisors with 20 years of experience. Derek had 15. The math did not work in his favor. He enrolled in UBI in May 2027. $1,200 appeared in his account the first of each month. $900 went to rent for a studio apartment in the Seattle suburbs. $250 for food. $50 for utilities, internet, and phone. That left negative $100. He put the shortfall on his credit card. The debt grew monthly. Derek wakes at 11 now. He scrolls his phone for 2 hours. He applied to jobs obsessively for 3 months, then gave up when he realized hope was worse than acceptance. He plays video games for 6 hours. He watches YouTube. He orders takeout because cooking for one person feels pathetic. He goes to sleep at 3 in the morning because there is no reason to wake up early. He gained 35 pounds in 6 months. He stopped calling friends because he was ashamed. His parents asked when he would get back on his feet, not understanding there were no feet to get back on. His girlfriend left after 4 months. She said, "You just gave up," and Derek could not explain that there was nothing to not give up on. He tried applying to retail. They said he was overqualified. He applied to warehouse work, but a back injury from college disqualified him. He considered driving for Uber, but his car was too old, and he could not afford a new one. 6 months after starting UBI, Derek stopped shaving regularly. His apartment stayed messy. He mostly stayed inside. His doctor prescribed antidepressants. He told his therapist, "I feel like I'm waiting to die." His expertise meant nothing now. 15 years of architecture knowledge, professional certifications, AWS specialist, Kubernetes expert, completely worthless. UBI covered survival, but not dignity, not purpose, not the feeling of being needed. By July 2027, 42 million Americans relied on UBI as their primary income. Not disabled, not retired, not students, simply economically obsolete. The average age was 34. College educated. Former white-collar workers. Depression diagnoses climbed 63%, according to the CDC. Divorce rates increased 40% among UBI-dependent households. Suicide rates in the UBI demographic rose 28%. This was not unemployment. Unemployed people look for work. This was post-employment. There was no work to look for. The government called it a transition period. Psychologists called it an existential crisis at scale. Jennifer and Robert Kim had been married 14 years. They had 2 kids, ages 9 and 11. Jennifer lost her graphic design job in August 2026 when Shutterstock eliminated her department. Robert lost his paralegal position in September when Skadden automated legal research. Together, they received $2,400 monthly, $1,200 each. Their mortgage for a house in the Phoenix suburbs cost $1,800. Food for a family of 4 ran $400. Utilities and insurance were $200. Car payments and gas were $300. They were short $400 every month. They burned through savings. They would lose the house in 18 months when the money ran out. Their kids asked why mom and dad did not go to work anymore. The neighbors gossiped. Jennifer volunteered at the school to feel useful, but it paid nothing. Robert applied to jobs obsessively. 300 applications. 2 interviews in 8 months. They fought about money every week. Robert said, "I should be providing." Jennifer said, "It is not your fault." They both knew their marriage was cracking under pressure no couple was designed to withstand. Their children watched their parents stay home all day. Stressed, scared, defeated. The kids were learning that work might not exist when they grew up. The Kims stopped attending neighborhood barbecues because they could not afford to bring food. They could not make small talk about what they did for a living. Social isolation became easier than social exposure. The trap closed around them. UBI was too little to live comfortably, too much to qualify for other assistance. They could not escape because no jobs were available to escape to. The government solved the unemployment problem by redefining employment as optional. But humans were not designed for lives without purpose. And now an entire generation is discovering what happens when you are fed and housed but not needed. For 10,000 years, human identity was built on what you did. Hunter, farmer, blacksmith, teacher, engineer. When someone asked who you are, you told them what you made or built or fixed. In 2027, that question became impossible to answer. Michael Torres was 41 years old. He was a former partner at Clifford Chance, the same firm that eliminated 40 lawyers in March 2024. He had a law degree from Yale, 20 years building his career. He made $1.2 million annually. The firm eliminated the partner track in October 2026. They offered him an AI supervisor role at $250,000. He refused out of pride. His severance lasted 1 year. It seemed generous. It ran out in October 2027. He had $3 million in investments. He owned a condo in Manhattan. He could live on dividends, but not at his previous lifestyle. But the problem was not money. The problem was identity. He spent 2 decades being a partner at Clifford Chance. Now he was nobody. He tried consulting. No one was hiring former lawyers when AI performed legal analysis. He tried teaching. Law schools were cutting faculty. He tried writing a book about the legal profession. The publishers said the market was saturated with similar books from displaced lawyers. He stopped attending Yale reunions because he could not face his classmates. His wife divorced him. She said, "You are not the man I married. You just sit there." His kids were embarrassed to tell friends what their dad did. Michael wakes early out of habit. He works out to fill time. He reads for hours. He walks the city streets and watches other people rush to jobs that do not exist for him anymore. His therapist diagnosed him with purpose deficit disorder, a new term for post-war depression. He sees a psychiatrist monthly. He takes medication, but tells people pills do not give you a reason to exist. 6 of his friends from law school are in similar positions. 3 are on UBI. 2 are doing AI supervisor work they hate. 1 committed suicide in April 2027. Michael does not talk about that one. The question haunts him constantly. If he is not a lawyer, then what is he? If his identity was his career, and his career does not exist, then who is he? Emma Chun is 19 years old. She is a freshman at a state university. She started as a computer science major. She switched to psychology. Now she is considering dropping out entirely. She watched her father lose his software engineering job when she was 17. He is on UBI now, depressed, purposeless. She sees her future in his present. Her boyfriend already dropped out. He lives with his parents. He collects UBI. He plays video games. He says, why bother with a degree for jobs that would not exist? Campus enrollment is down 32% since 2025. Students question why they are there. Career services shut down because there are no careers to advise about. A professor told her class, I'm teaching you critical thinking, not job skills, because jobs would not exist, but thinking might matter. Emma did not find that comforting. She has 8 friends in her circle. 3 dropped out. 2 are on antidepressants. All of them live with their parents because they cannot afford independence on $1,200 monthly. They meet at coffee shops because it is the cheapest social activity. They talk about what they would do if jobs existed. They scroll their phones. They watch the older generation collapse and see their own future. Birth rates dropped 41% in 2027. People are not having children because they cannot afford them emotionally or financially. Emma's conclusion is simple. We re the first generation that knows we re-obsolete before we even start. 2030 arrived not with a bang, but a whimper. 47% of working-age Americans relied on UBI as their primary income. Not unemployed and searching for work. Post-employed with no work to search for. GDP stayed stable because machines produced everything. Humans just consumed. A depression pandemic swept the nation. 78 million people took antidepressants or anti-anxiety medication. The social fabric was tearing. Divorce rates up. Birth rates down. Suicide rates climbing. Community bonds dissolving. Civilization could not answer the fundamental question, what do humans do when they are not needed? Religious attendance spiked as people searched for meaning beyond economics. Hobby communities grew as people tried to fill empty time. But hobbies are not careers. Community is not purpose. And being second best at everything means being necessary at nothing. We solved scarcity. We eliminated toil. We automated intelligence. And we discovered that humans need to be needed. The machines gave us everything we thought we wanted. Freedom from work. Freedom from struggle. Freedom from the tyranny of having to earn our survival. What we did not understand is that work was never just about survival. It was about matching. It was about being necessary to something larger than yourself. The machines took that from us. And it turns out that a human being who is not needed is not free. They're simply waiting. And what comes after waiting is something we do not have a word for yet.